Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have, at least for me, a really exciting video that I'm gonna share with you. As you can see from the title, today's video is all about my top 10 favorite classics. I love reading classics. I made this goal of reading one classic a month this year, so far so good. I mean we're just in March, so we'll see how the rest of the year is going to be. But I love classics a lot. I've discovered a lot of incredible writers, and I'm just happy to share them with you. If you want, I can actually do more videos like this one. For example, my top 10 favorite fantasies, or like my top 10 contemporary, or you know, like this, because I find them really interesting, and in the future I will look back and be like, oh, like this changed. It's interesting. Let's start. Okay, so the first one that I'm gonna share with you is actually a huge is a huge book, and I feel like a lot of people are really intimidated by this. And yeah, so the first book is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Now this is a mammoth of a book. Look at this. It's huge. It's like one book is obviously it's bigger than my head. So this book follows the noble Russian society in the Napoleonic War, and we follow a lot of characters, a lot of men fighting in the war. We see how the war impacts not just the men that are fighting in war, but also families and, you know, wives and parents and stuff like that. Definitely need to take some notes with this one because there's a full cast of characters, and some of them actually have nicknames as well as names, and it can be a little bit confusing. I actually don't love history a lot, and especially I don't love war in books, but this one is, I don't know, I loved it. I didn't love it. I didn't, it's not my favorite book, okay? It's definitely has its flaws, and it's definitely a lot to take in because there's so much philosophy in it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes I just was skipping some war scenes, but besides that I feel like it's just a book that is gonna stay with you forever. You're always going to remember these characters, and I don't know, Tolstoy has a way of writing incredible characters, and that's why I actually love his books. If you don't want to commit, read like this book has more than 1000 pages, and if you don't want to commit to reading it, I highly recommend watching the BBC miniseries. Yeah, I think that's a really good adaptation. So yeah. But to be honest, if you do read this one, you can brag to everyone that you've read War and Peace, and everyone is probably gonna be like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I read War and Peace, and I actually enjoyed it. The next book is actually by the same author, and you probably know this one, is Anna Karenina, and I feel like this might be a really popular book on BookTube. It's definitely, still it's quite lengthy, but not as big as the other one. It follows Anna Karenina in her and other characters in their day-to-day lives in Russia. Yeah, if you don't know what this book is about, I don't really want to spoil it to you because there's like some plot twist in it that I do want you to know, and I really recommend going into this one not knowing a lot about, because you're going to be surprised because of some things. Which I find really interesting is that one of the characters, which is actually my favorite characters in this book, is Konstantin, why did I say this in English? Konstantin Lenin. It's said to be portrayed after Tolstoy himself, which is, I don't know, it's really interesting. I feel like we got to know the author a little bit in this book. So yeah, I feel like I said in War and Peace, the characters in this one are really amazing and different from each other, and to be honest, quite dramatic. The third book is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So this one follows a young woman that falls in love with the widower Maxime. He is a really handsome man, but quite mysterious. He has some dark secrets, and after they move in his home in Pemberley, a huge mansion but really creepy, the shadow of his late wife's is threatening to destroy their marriage. Like, I've seen a lot of hype around this book, and I can see why that happened, because this is really good and quite creepy, and there's some plot twist in this that I feel like you're gonna love. So yeah, highly recommend. The other book by the same author is Jamaica In, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about this one, but it's so good. I might actually like this one better than Rebecca. I'm not so sure. I've read this book in February, and it's probably one of my favorite books of this year as well, so far. This book follows a orphan Mary that after her mother dies, she goes to live with her aunt and uncle. Ouch, that hurt. She goes to live with her aunt and uncle at Jamaica Inn, and this inn is not what it seems. Before going to Jamaica Inn, she believed that her aunt is in a great marriage. When she finally arrives at this inn, she sees that her aunt is actually living quite a nightmare, and her uncle is not the man that she thought he would be. There's a lot of illegal things happening in there. There's a lot of like dangerous stuff. It's quite dark, and I would go in this one as well as Rebecca. Like, I feel both of these books are quite dark, and I love this. I really like Daphne du Maurier's book so far, and I'm definitely going to pick some more. But this one has some romance in it, but I liked because it's not a lot. It's not focused on the romance, it's focused on the action of what's happening at that inn. But yeah, I definitely feel like this relationship in this book is not the best. It can be a little bit, I mean, we can love the relationship, but also we can see that it's quite toxic. So go into this one with an open mind. Next two books, again, the same author. Both of them are by the same author. I'm gonna tell you about this one because it's more popular. This is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Everyone, I mean, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people know what Jane Austen, like who Jane Austen is, and especially what Pride and Prejudice is about. If you don't know, I'm just gonna be quick and tell you that it's about the Bennet family, and they have these beautiful 5 different daughters, and it's kind of like their journey to get married. There's a lot of interest in who these girls are gonna be married to. Again, I don't want to tell you too much because this is so well loved, and I feel like a lot of people would know what this book is about, and especially the main relationship in this one. I'm not gonna tell you, just because maybe you don't know and I don't want to spoil it to you. But if you don't know, you know this is a well-loved book and quite popular because of the movie adaptations, and yeah, definitely pick this up. And Jane Austen, I feel like it's quite an easy author to read from. It's not really, like, her writing is not really flowery, and it's definitely... Next is Emma by Jane Austen, and I feel like this book actually gained a lot of popularity in the last year because of the movie adaptation that came out. This follows young Emma, and she likes to get involved in the other people's like relationship and just lives in general. She's really witty, and I feel like she is definitely a spoiled person, and she believes that everything that happens, everything that she does is the right thing to do, and she doesn't think about consequences. And I feel like she might be one of my favorite characters in fiction as well as Anna Karenina. She's not perfect, you can see that. That's why I liked her. The next book that I'm going to talk about I don't actually own, but this is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. We follow Margaret Hale and her family after they move from a really rural town to a completely different town in the north of England. So she is horrified and disturbed because of how different the people's life in this industrial town is and how different it was in the south. So she becomes aware of the poverty that goes into this, in Milton, the industrial town, and she kind of like wants a lot, like, to help, and she gets involved in their lives. We do have some romance as well, as in a lot of these books, a lot of classics, but it's not a lot. It's not focused on just the romance, which I appreciate. Next one is Little Women by Louise M. Alcott. Again, this is quite popular, and it became even more popular after the movie adaptation that came out a few years ago. I don't really know exactly, but this is one of the reasons why I picked this book. The movie was incredible, and definitely watch it if you haven't. This book is not the whole movie, it's just the first part. I think a while ago the book was published in 2 separate parts. It was this one, Little Women, and then the next one is Good Wives. Still haven't read that one, but this one follows the story of the 4 March sisters and their journey to womanhood. I don't feel like you need to know more, because there's just, I don't know, it's really beautiful written, and it's really a great book to start. Again, this could be a great book to get into classics. It's not really that heavy, and it's definitely just something that you can read with a cup of tea in a nice evening and just lose yourself into this beautiful story of this incredible sister. I love the siblings in this one. Oh, it's so good. This is actually one of the only times when I watched the movie before the book, and I think it actually helped because I imagined the characters from the movie in this book, and I feel like it was so much better. So the next book I don't actually own, but this is Anne of Green Gables by Ella Montgomery. This is the first in a series about Anne, our main character, and she is an orphan. She goes to live with 2 siblings in an island, I think in Canada. I'm pretty sure it's in Canada, yeah. And she falls in love with that place, and she wants to move there. She believes that her life is going to be completely different there. But the Cuthberts are not really keen on her at the beginning. She's not what they were expecting. They wanted a boy to help Matthew, one of the siblings, to help him at the farm, but they do fall in love with her after a while, and yeah. This book is really magical and really atmospheric. This book makes me want to be in nature, and I don't know, I love Anne as a character. She's really like different, and I love that about her. She's definitely an interesting child. She has a great imagination, and she's not scared to use it. And yeah, I don't know, it feels really good. It's definitely a feel-good book. The other books are not actually in any particular order, but this one is my favorite book ever. My favorite classic, my favorite book in general. God, I absolutely love it, and it's huge. I'm just gonna show you first how big this is. I feel like a lot of these books that you've already seen are in Romanian, because I love reading classics in Romanian like that. So just because it's easier to just read them, and they're quite old because I bought them from like thrift shops, and just old. They're really old, but that's why I love them, because it just feels like there's so many people that probably read this particular books. A lot of classics that were translated in Romanian came in either like 3 volumes, 4 volumes, 2 volumes. It really depended of the size. This one came in 3 huge volumes. Like already one of this one is huge, but in total This one is more than 1,600 pages. But I love every single page of this one, and it's Les Mis by Victor Hugo. I just love them. I love the whole story and I love the characters especially. This book follows a convict that went in prison because he stole a loaf of bread, but now he's out of prison and he wants to become just a respected man. And it's not easy to be a convict because everyone is turning their back at him and no one is willing to help, until he goes and meets this priest. And this priest just changes his life. And now, like I said, his journey is not smooth and he has a lot of things to overcome, but this doesn't stop him from just helping people. Besides him, there are a lot of characters. There's Fantine, that because of other people she became a prostitute, and follow a lot of people's sad stories, and they're all really, like the title says, they're miserable. Their life is really bad and sad, and I just want to hug them all. And we follow a revolution in France. It's not the French Revolution. I feel like a lot of people are saying this, but it's not. The French Revolution is just a revolution that happened in Paris that time, just because there were a lot of people that were poor and just, yeah, they wanted to change this. What I like about this book and why it's my favorite is just because every single character and every single story is connected. Like, I don't know how Hugo did this, but just everything is there for a reason. Like, there's nothing that's, oh, it shouldn't have been in the book. No, everything is in this for a reason. Or maybe not everything. There's one scene with the sewers underneath Paris that is a lot. If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't know. This is not a happy book. It's full of just people being sad, and this is not like prior to Anne of Green Gables. This is just gonna make you sad and not give you a lot of hope, but it's so beautiful. Like, another thing that made me fall in love with this one is the musical. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the musical and how good it is, and how you're gonna see me. If you know me, you're gonna see me, you're gonna hear me sing some of the songs every single day because it's so good, and I'm just gonna listen to it for the rest of my life and not get bored. This is my favorite. It's definitely, it's long. It took me, I think, 3 months. It took me 3 months to read, and I want to reread this one. So if you would love to do it with me, maybe read it for the first time, let me know, and well, definitely we can buddy read this one together. I think that could be interesting, and I feel like it will be easier because I read this book, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I read it with a lot of people on Bookstagram, and I think that was what helped me continuing to read it, and it helped a lot being able to talk with other people and seeing what their thought was, what they're thinking. Yeah, definitely, if you want to read it with me, let me know. We can do something about this. So these are all the books that are my favorite, like right now, but as you can see, 2 of my favorite books I've read this year, and I feel like I'm about to read even more, and maybe this list is gonna change in the future. But right now, these are all my favorite books. So this is it for now. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of this, if one of it is like might be your favorite, or if I haven't mentioned your favorite classic, let me know and maybe I will pick it up in the future, because I'm always looking for new classics to read and it's always nice to find new favorites. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, like this video, comment like I said, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!